It was bittersweet. And I guess that's like the last time we're playing this together. You know, nothing's really dead. Nothing really, goes away. Right now, everybody is looking at this as a final chapter, definitely with, Patrick and Vera.
The Conjuring Last Rites, for me, is pretty much the end of an era. It is bittersweet, but all things come to an end.
It's been really fun to grow up, through the decades and explore all these sensational cases.
The Smurl case was the darkest thing we've ever seen in the series.
Demon has a vendetta, and what it wants is very, very personal.
You talk upping the scares. This is thrilling, scary. You never know where this is going.
The story is the last act for these two.
The Conjuring Last Rite is the final adventure of Ed and Lorraine. So what was it like the last day on set, especially for Vera and Patrick? Was it emotional or anyone cry?
I was the only one to cry. They were like consoling me. In all seriousness, no one cried, but it was bittersweet. It's funny because it wasn't even the last day. It was kind of just throughout the whole process because, as you're shooting the movie, you're like, we have returning characters who had been in the series, like Steve Coulter, who plays Father Gordon. We were shooting with him and it was just the way it was scheduled. It was actually the last scene that they were going to be in together. And even though we were shooting more of them, both of those actors separately, together it was their last scene together. And these guys have been friends for 12 years together. Patrick has worked with him on the Insidious movies. They've known each other for forever. When we finished the scene, it was this really bittersweet moment. I think Steve said something, I guess that's the last time we're playing this together. And it was so heartbreaking. You could feel it with all the actors. But it was also special having that early on in the schedule because as we went through the shoot, you'd have little moments like that with other actors. And it just was kind of a reminder that this has been such a great run. And, I'm so lucky. I'm coming into it halfway through with, Conjuring 3 and this one. But there's people who've, been on this journey for, over 12 years and just being there as they're saying goodbye it was just really amazing to be a part of.
And I'm not going to spoil it before the movie came out, but I have to say the last scene is incredible and emotional, like a reunion, right?
Yeah, that was in the original script. That was David Leslie Johnson wrote the original script. That was the one that the first one I got. And so, when you're making a movie, you kind of kick the tires and you kind of tweak a lot of things. That the end section that you're talking about, that I think I totally agree with you, and I'm so glad that it hit you. It totally hits me every time I see it. That was untouched. David Leslie Johnson, he wrote that and we stuck to every single word that he wrote. And, he's got such a touch and he wrote Conjuring 2, Conjuring 3 and this one. And he really knows these characters. He knows this franchise. And I really am so grateful for him being able to write us out in such a beautiful way.
I think everyone's curious about what is the future of the Conjuring universe, and will we see another adventure or prequel about Ed and Lorraine?
I think that there's, just like with all things that people love, I'm sure that, nothing's really dead, nothing really, goes away. I'm sure that there will be, evolutions, iterations, over the years. But I think for right now, everybody is looking at this as a final chapter and definitely with, Patrick and Vera.
Okay, I think that's all my time. Thanks for sharing.
Hey, great talking to you. Love Taiwan.
We're in the home of Janet and Jack Smurl.
All right, let's get started.
You picking up anything in here?
That thing, it's the demon.
We've been waiting so patiently for you.
There's no doubt that this house is really haunted.